welcome back to another episode of Recovery Real Talk. My name is Angelica Matias Rodriguez, and I have here, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Christine Guess.
Well, welcome to the show.
Hi. I'm glad to
Hello.
be here.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you're here. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and where you're from, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I am originally from Phoenix, Arizona. I moved to Chula Vista, California in 2016. Um, I have 5 kids. I'm married, and I am a professional medical biller coder. So,
Right on. And you're in San Diego right now, right?
yeah, well, I'm in Chula Vista, which is like a suburb to San Diego.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know why I thought Chula Vista. No, I'm thinking of Chowchilla, I think. I think
Oh.
I was like, I thought that was more in the valley, but I think that's Chowchilla. Yeah, so I was like, "Oh, it's kinda far," but that makes more sense now that you
Yeah,
say it
we're
that way.
right off the border of, like, Mexico and California, so
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Oh, I
yeah,
wish I could just, live near the border so I can, drive over and get some
just jump
tacos
over.
and then go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my friends do that live by the border in Texas. They'll just go to Tijuana really quick, and they'll, go spend the day in TJ, and then they'll just come back, and I'm just like, "Oh, you get to go get good food." Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little mini vacation.
Yeah, you guys are, San Diego has, really good food.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good.
I have a friend from San Diego that I had on the show. His name's Daniel, and he was from San Diego, and he's like, "Oh, the Mexican food in San Diego is so good," because he moved here, and in Humboldt County, you've been here other than that last time you were here, right? Have you?
That was the only time I've ever been there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot.
Yeah, we were looking for food for the 2 nights that we were there, and it was pretty limited.
Okay. So you said you had 5 kids, and I know today we're gonna talk about your son. And so do you wanna talk a little bit about what we're gonna be talking about today?
Yeah, so my son, he is 26 years old. He was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia in February of this year, 2005. Um, he had originally went missing November of 2023, or I'm sorry, October of 2023, and I had been searching for him up until November of 2024, where I found him in Arcata, California. Um, and so we always had our suspicions that he had schizophrenia right before he left, but it was never diagnosed or confirmed. So um, when I found him and I was able to get him back home, we were able to get him the diagnosis finally. And so now we're just kind of like going through the motions of dealing with that and processing it all, really. So,
Nice. Well, not you know what I mean. But,
yeah.
yeah. I know that I definitely remember the first post I saw from so how did you figure out he was in Humboldt County?
So I had been searching for him for quite a while, and I would just randomly do these Google searches. And one day he actually popped up. He had been arrested. So he popped up on Google. I was able to click on the link and he came up and his name was there. So it like brought me to this page and it showed his mugshot and it said where he was arrested. Um, so then I just kind of like took it in and um, I was trying to like figure out what I need to do next. Like, okay, we know he's here, but what do we do with this information? Um, so after a couple weeks, I'm like, why don't I just like start searching on Facebook, some groups that are in the area and ask? So I did, I put it out there and so many people had known who he was. And I mean, within that first post, I had a wonderful lady reach out to me. She's like, I see your son right now. He's right here. Do you want me to go to him? And I'm like, oh, yes, please, absolutely. And so she got in contact with him. Um, at first, he didn't want to speak to me. And then finally, over a couple of days, he eventually like softened up and was willing to talk to me. So, yeah, it was crazy how it all went down.
Yeah, so was he living with you prior to his when he went missing in 2023?
He did. He had actually, so in 2020, um, I think around June, he had moved back to Arizona and lived with my mom from 2020 to February of 2023. He was with her. And then he moved in with me from February 2023 and till the time that he had left.
Did he just pack up and leave? Like, just didn't say anything, just kind of, like, was gone?
So really what happened is one night there was a few things that led up to it. We had noticed his behavior had been changing, and he seemed okay at first when he came home, but then we started to notice these behaviors that we had noticed before. We kind of had assumed maybe he was doing drugs. We couldn't really put our finger on it. Um, and then it just started escalating. And then one night, my 14-year-old at the time said he had woke up and Christopher was just standing over him, staring at him. Yeah, so I I believe things were said to him. I can't exactly remember something about a girl. And so the next day I immediately had said, like, you need to go speak to somebody. Like, I can't have you doing that. It's not safe. You're making me feel unsafe. Um, and then it was only a matter within like 2 weeks. He was placed on medication, but they didn't give him a diagnosis. And I would say it was like 2 or 3 weeks after that, he had another um, situation where he called my. Am I allowed to say bad words on here?
Yeah, you can say bad words.
Okay. He called my other daughter, who at the time was only 17, he called her a bitch. And I'm just like, you need to stop. Like, you cannot do that. It's not acceptable. And so we kind of just got into a fight, and he like got really mad and like raged out. He ran upstairs, he grabbed a couple things, and then he just stormed off. And he's like, I'm never coming back. You'll never hear from me again. And then I thought he would come back eventually. I thought he would contact us. He didn't, and I never heard from him until Arcata.
So you didn't hear from him for about, like, you said that he left in October of 2023,
Mhm.
and you found him in February of 2024?
Of November
No.
2024.
Oh, so, like, a year you didn't hear from him, you didn't know where he was or
Right.
anything? Oh, wow. Did you
Yeah.
think that he originally maybe had just was gonna be gone for a few days and come back when he was maybe cooled off, and, like, did you think that that was what was happening?
Yeah. Yeah, it was so close to the holidays that I was like, "You know what? Let's just I don't know where he'll go. He'll, like, experiment maybe, decide he doesn't like it, and then, the holidays will come. He'll come around, and Thanksgiving passed, he didn't show up. Christmas passed, he didn't show up. I think it was right after Thanksgiving that I actually had decided to file my missing persons report on him.
Mhm.
And, yeah, he never came around, and I'm like, "Wow, this is crazy, like, this can't actually be happening." So,
Right. Because kids just yeah, he was 26, but kids just say things. He was younger than 26, right? Because he's 26 right now, so he was, like, 24.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we all say stuff like that to our parents because he's not much we're pretty close in age because I just turned 27, and, like, I remember telling my parents, like, "I'm never talking to you guys again," but, like, it's just something that we say, our parents never actually think that that's
Right.
reality. Like, "Oh, okay," Especially
Yeah.
being that young, being 24. 24 is still so young.
Yeah. A lot of growing to do.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the age where a lot of people are diagnosed start to have schizophrenic, like, symptoms because it's diagnosed so later on in life.
Mhm.
So what was he like
Yeah.
before his diagnosis? Did he have a lot of friends? Was he
Yeah,
active?
he was, he had his friends. I would say in high school, he got really involved in church and that community. Um, Him and his best friend would go to church, and, he was a part of football and soccer. He's always been such a really good kid, and he enjoyed drawing, and he liked WWE and Munster trucks, and he's just been a really good kid. He's always been really high energy. He was diagnosed with ADHD at, like, the age of 12. Um, but even into going into adulthood, when we moved here, he got a job at Walmart. He became manager. He did really well with that. He was really devoted to his job. He started college, did maybe like a semester or two. Um, so yeah, he had dreams. You know, he didn't know exactly what he wanted to do, but he definitely wanted more out of life than what he's up to now. So
Yeah. I don't think anybody really knows what they wanna do with their life. I mean, I know at 18 we're considered adults, but I thought I wanted to be a social worker, and then I thought I wanted to do for something with forensics, and then I changed my major like 6 times. I thought I wanted to work with kids, and then I thought and you know what? And then I just was like, "I need to stop taking these classes because I am like" I was never in debt because I would just go to community college, but excuse me. I was just like, "I need to sit down and figure out because 'cause I'm just taking all these classes and wasting all this money." And I was like, "I need to, like, really sit down and figure out what I wanna do." And I still don't really know what I wanna do, and I'm 27, so it's like, I think the people that know what they wanna do are just good for them, honestly. They don't have to go through
Yeah.
this journey of figuring out what they wanna be when they grow up. Because 'cause I'm still trying to figure out what I wanna be when I grow up, and I'm a grown up. So it's like
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely would like to stay in the field I'm in, so I do permanent supportive housing. So I don't know if you've heard of permanent supportive housing. It's like home key. It's something that I know other states are doing it. In California, a home key project is where I'm gonna just give like a gist of what it is they have a coordinated entry system of people that are homeless and they go like all these agencies. So the way we do it in Humboldt County is all these agencies come together and they're like kind of like fighting for their clients. And they're like, my client's been homeless X amount of years, will die in less than a year if they are not housed. They take who's priority and they bump them to the list. And when I need a client, they'll send me their client. Whether the client wants to go through with it or not, completely up to them. So I've dealt with people that have been homeless for over a decade, people with schizophrenia, people with like or that are in like a permanent state of psychosis and all kinds of different people that have just come in and out. So I have dealt with people that have schizophrenia. So when I found your Facebook post, I think the first one I found was that we've located him. He's in Arcata, California. If anyone sees him, please reach out to me. I think that was the first post I saw from you. And then I was following along, and I live in Arcata, and I go to the plaza a lot. And I recognized him. I never talked to him, but I did recognize him because I recognized that brown jacket he had
Mhm.
because it's always the same people in the plaza. They all hang out. So and sometimes I'll go to the plaza, and if someone looks cold, I like to, like, give them a cup of coffee if I'm, like, passing through, and if I have time or something, I'll, like, get an extra coffee or something because there's a coffee shop right there called Jitterbean, and sometimes, like, if I'm at Safeway, I mean, it gets so cold and rainy here, I'll, like,
Mhm.
buy something from the deli, and I'll give it to someone that I see outside or something. So I did recognize your son a little bit, but I never talked to him. So, I was following your posts and I would look around and I'd be like, "Okay, wait, do I see him?" And, like, that kinda stuff, but and then after that, I saw your post of where you came to Humboldt, and you came
Mhm.
to come get him, and he agreed to go home, and it was that picture of him with, him hanging out of the window through the redwoods, and, you said that he had agreed to come home, and it was everywhere. It was on, like, Lost Coast, people were sharing it. It was
Aw.
yeah, and then I saw your recent post where he had I think is he unmedicated? Is that what's kinda going on right now with him?
Yeah, so he had went to a transitional housing. We had put him he went to a psychiatric unit,
Mhm,
and, from there, he went to transitional housing, and after, I believe it was 6 days, he left against medical advice. Um, he went missing for a week. He finally reached out to me, and he was staying about seriously, like, 5 minutes away from my house. He, like,
mhm.
walked all the way to where we were and had just been staying there. And I told him, I said, "One of you can come home, but one of the conditions is to stay medicated. Like, you have to continue with your plan. That's just how it has to be, you know? And so he agreed, and we set up his appointments. We took him, but I don't know if he actually continued on with the injection because we weren't able to get any information.
And they
And
won't
so
give you any information
no,
because it's HIPAA,
it's the worst.
and he's an
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah, and it makes things so difficult in this situation. Um, and so I was just taking his word for it. He would say he was, but then I started to notice the symptoms coming back. I mean, he was
Yeah,
never 100%.
right. Yeah, you'll notice when someone stops taking their injection because I think after, like, 2 weeks is you'll really start noticing, but once you get to, like, that 3 or 4-week mark is when they almost go back to, well, just being unmedicated. I mean, it stays in your system because 'cause you're supposed to get the injection, I think, like, once a month, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I've seen it, and it's they're a completely different person, and
yeah.
a lot of people that have schizophrenia, there's this misconception around it where they're like, they don't think about the mental health side of it. They just people automatically just assume, well, that person did drugs and that's why they're like that. But in
Right.
reality, yeah, and in reality, it's just like, no, this is like an actual mental health like diagnosis. Like this is an actual issue, and it's actually pretty common. I read a statistic from like 8 years ago that said it was like I think 56 million people in the United States alone have schizophrenia, and that's
It
a lot of people.
yeah, it's actually really so before, like, I never heard of anyone having schizophrenia, and then when I started looking for Chris and stuff, when I posted everything, people were reaching out to me with their stories of their loved ones having schizophrenia and, like, being a good support for me, and I'm just like, "This is such a common issue that so many people actually have it. It's such a
Yeah,
closeted illness. It's insane."
and the problem with schizophrenia is that people that are schizophrenic often don't think that they have a problem because it's a completely different sense of reality, and
Mhm.
I've dealt with that before where I've dealt with someone that's unmedicated, and I approached them how I normally would, and that individual wanted to hit me. And
Oh,
I remember thinking, I was like, I remember, like, thoughts running through my head, like, I was like, "Oh, this person's gonna hit me, but I can't be mad at them for hitting me because I know that they think their sense of reality is completely different from mine." And I was like, "And I'm not gonna hit them back because, well, first I'll lose my job, but second of all, I was like, I'm not gonna hit this person back." And I remember looking at all my exits, and I was, like, trying to figure out, like, an exit route. And I was like, "Okay, 'cause if I can completely avoid it, I'm going to." And I remember thinking, "Okay, I'm gonna go out this I'm gonna take a couple steps back and run out this side door." I was like, or I had my keys in my hand, and I was like, "I'm gonna run into the closest unit next to me," which was on my left-hand side, and I was just gonna bust through the door really quick, and I was just gonna shut it because I was like, "I don't want this person to lose their housing, and I don't wanna be put in a position that I don't wanna be in." So I just kept
right.
telling myself, this isn't this isn't their reality, this isn't their reality," and I managed to get out of it, but they tend to get aggressive, and that's why they are often arrested is because people, I think I don't know if they are, but I think police officers should be trained to deal with people that
Mhm.
have severe schizophrenia because it's it's hard to talk because they're so stuck in their sense of reality and they
Right.
don't think something's wrong. And that's why they often get aggressive is because they think something completely different. And so I think and they
Yeah.
could be trained, and there's just times where you're just like, they have to do their job, and I get that. But that's why people just think, it's not an issue, but it is. I think it's like 1 in 10 people attempt to self-harm when they have schizophrenia too, and I think it's like 1.1% of the United States has schizophrenia, and I don't think I've personally met anybody other than, like, the individuals I work with that have schizophrenia. I know that my mom says she thinks one of my uncles, like, one of, like, my distant uncles is schizophrenic. We've talked about it before, and he's, like, an adult now, like, super old, like, it's her cousin or something, my mom's cousin, and I think that's the only person that I personally know in my time so far that is schizophrenic, but and then there's a lot of people that could be schizophrenic and you won't even know because they're
Yeah.
medicated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's crazy because the police department, like, they would say, "Oh," like, when he would get arrested, it would be he was, um, intoxicated every single time, and I'm just like I tried calling them and telling them and explaining, he's not intoxicated, he has schizophrenia, and I just don't think I was being heard, so I do feel like it is really important for there to be education, um, to
I agree.
the police departments, yeah, so
I
because they
know
don't
that.
recognize it.
No, and I can see why they would think public intoxication because
Mhm.
they are saying things that don't make sense and
Yeah.
seeing things that are not there in a s but I mean, I don't see things when I'm drunk, but you definitely see things differently when you're intoxicated, whether it be under the influence of drugs or alcohol or whatever it may be, because it's just public intoxication. It doesn't necessarily mean it's alcohol. And
Right, that's true.
I know that now we have like a MIST person. I don't know what MIST stands for off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up, but it's like a mental health clinician, not a clinician, but like a worker that we can actually dispatch now. But they
Oh,
only work
wow.
like 2 or 3 days a week. It's because honestly, like, mental health resources are just underfunded. So it's like
Mhm.
people, are doing what they can, but I know that now I think they're working towards getting somebody with experience to be dispatched to those kinds of situations. And maybe they did hear you and that's, why, because I didn't know it was a thing until about maybe a year ago that we could dispatch missed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so but I completely agree that people should be more educated on mental health, and I think you're trying to fight for conservatorship, right? I think I signed your petition.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, with conservatorship, I cannot obtain it. It can only be obtained by the state.
Mhm.
So, it's just not an option right now. So yeah, the petition is to try and, give families more rights to those who are unable to make rational, um, health decisions for themselves, who are
Right.
not in the right
Like a
state of
power of
mind.
attorney.
Yeah. Yeah, but without going through all those steps. So, like, if
Mhm.
he were to come home and, I think he needs help, I should be able to take him to a doctor and get him that help with going through some kind of a process, but without him being able to say no, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know that conservatorship is really hard, especially when it comes to I know being financially conserved is one thing, but when it comes to, like, the medical aspect of, like, the decision making, it takes so long to get someone considered. I've seen it. And even then, there's all these hoops they get like, oh, they have to meet this
Mhm.
criteria. You need this much proof. We have to do this. We have to do that. It's so hard to get someone conserved. But I think that they should have some kind of advocate that can make this because obviously they're not going to want to be medicated if they don't think something's wrong with them. And
Exactly.
and so I totally get I mean, you should be able to make that decision for him like no, you're getting your shot. So
Yeah.
I get what you mean, like, maybe not so much as the legal aspect of getting a power of attorney, but having some kinda advocate.
Yeah. Just something in between that. Okay, like, he needs the help. We know he needs the help. Can we move towards that process and then eventually get to the power of attorney? And just to get him that diagnosis, to get it known that, we know he needs his help. It's very clear he needs it. He shouldn't be able to say no when it's so
Right.
obvious.
Like, yeah, you can totally you can see that he cannot take care of himself and make these decisions, and he was probably, homeless when he was out here too, and it's hard to get people that have schizophrenia, I think the help because I know we have, like, outreach out here from different agencies, like Uplift and stuff, and they go to talk to people that are homeless, and they try to get them, like, help whatever they like, the kinda help that they need, but people with schizophrenia too often have issues with trusting people because they
Mhm.
think people are that the paranoia kicks in, and they think that people are out to get them or that people have bad intentions and we don't know what their voices are telling them either. 'Cause they can think that you said something about them that you never said, or you're telling them something, but they're interpreting it completely different from
Mhm.
what you're saying. So they can someone can go up and be like, "Hey, I wanna help you," and he might hear, "This person wants to hurt me. Don't trust them," or something. So it's hard to get resources that we do have for people that are homeless and schizophrenic because of that part of the paranoia.
And that was such a major issue because he was, numerous people were reaching out to me and saying that they had offered him help and housing and the resources, but he just wasn't accepting it.
Mhm.
And he was standing out in the rain and just like getting his clothes soaked and in the freezing weather. And um, yeah, so I was just like, at the time, even then, I couldn't understand why he would not accept the help. It just didn't make sense to me. But yeah, now knowing, it's like, it's just really sad because he is totally incapable of making those decisions and getting that help and accepting it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So was your first assumption was that he was maybe doing drugs when he was first having that weird behavior, like odd, different kind of behavior in the house?
So, I would say before he left to my mom's in 2020 and we start to notice little changes, I kind of almost thought he was just like going through, turning into an adult and
In his
that
20s,
whole transition. Yeah, going through the
figuring out
transition and the
who he is as a
stages.
person in a 'cause that's what your 20s are for.
Yeah, right. And so I kind of chalked it up to that, but then it started to get a little bit worse. So then I'm like, well, maybe he's experienced some depression.
And it
Um,
happens.
yeah. And I just thought, okay, he'll figure it out. I'm here for him. He knows I'm here for him. But then we started to bump heads really bad. And I wouldn't say we ever really bumped heads. We always got along pretty well, but then there's just so many arguments happening. And so eventually he decided to move out. And then it was when he was with my mom. And because we had been bumping heads, he wasn't really speaking to me very much. So I didn't have much of a knowledge on what was going on with him
Mhm.
because he was distant from my mom even. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, like he would just go to work and then he would go in his room and he would stay in there. He didn't really socialize.
He was, like,
Um,
isolating?
yeah, yeah. And so my mom and my sister, they're like, we think he's doing drugs. Like something's just not right. And his whole appearance changed. Everything about him was completely different. It was completely opposite. And so, yeah, I was like, well, maybe he's just doing drugs. Like he's doing some hard drugs. So my sister would go in his room and search, but she wouldn't find anything. And so then I noticed on his TikTok, this is when things started to become a little questionable for me is he would go on TikTok, he would post something, and then he started talking to himself as like third person in his TikTok, but there would be multiple personalities that he was playing
Mhm.
and commenting and talking back and forth to each other. And I'm like, that's weird. Like something's not right here.
Right.
And so, yeah, then when he came home and he seemed better. He seemed a little bit better, but I think he was just hiding it. So then I was like, well, maybe it was just drugs. Maybe he's away from there. So now he's not getting those drugs and now things are better. But I think he was just doing a really good job at hiding it. Um, I I do have an aunt who is diagnosed with schizophrenia, so it's always been in the back of my head that he would have it, but I was just in denial. I'm like, no, no, it can't be that.
Mhm.
So,
I think it's more commonly diagnosed in men than it is women. But women also have a really good thing of masking, is what I've heard
oh
about
yeah.
a lot of even autism, 'cause I have a brother with autism, and back in the day, autism was more diagnosed in boys than it was girls, and it was there wasn't a lot of information at the time about autism, and because my brother's 30 now. Yeah, we're 3 years apart, so he's 30. And it's kinda like something like the whole back of the head thing, that I'm agreeing with, because I
Mhm.
think we had other relatives that had autism, and you just think, "No." Yeah, like, the sense of denial, like, "No, that's not my kid," you know?
Yeah.
So, would you say that maybe it was in his before he was 24 that he was having symptoms? Or it was when he left, was, 24, living with your mom?
Yeah, I would say probably about 22, the mild symptoms started. Like, he's probably starting to experience things, and they just started escalating, and then they got really bad when he was with my mom.
Mhm. Did she ever kick him out? Because he came back, right, to live with you?
Yeah, so what happened with that situation is, yeah, there was a night where there was, she wasn't there. I can't recall what started the fight, but he got into a fight with my stepdad, and he punched the wall and left a big hole and then, took off running. So they had called the cops. Um, they couldn't find him, but when Chris came back, they're like, "You can't stay here."
Mhm.
So that's when he came home.
And then it just got worse.
Yeah.
So, is his dad around?
No,
No. Okay,
no.
so you were kinda dealing with it on your own in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, I have my husband. He's been Chris's life for a good part of it.
I think
Um
hang on, I think I need a napkin. I think I coughed too hard. Thank you. How gross, I'm glad you didn't see that. My oh, that was gross. Sorry. So you said your husband has been part of Chris's life?
Yeah, so he's been a part. I can't even recall when he became part of his life, but it's been a good chunk of his life. He helped raise Chris. So he's been there to play that father figure role and um yeah.
Well, that's good. He did have, a father figure.
Yeah.
Did he kinda, assume schizophrenia too, or was he just kinda like, "I think he's doing drugs?"
I think it was the same as me. Like, he
Right.
first thought, well, maybe he's doing drugs, and then he noticed the TikToks and was like, this is strange behavior. So we were kind of like on the same page of what was going on, what we thought was going on.
Yeah. Do you know how he got from San Diego to way up here? That's, 12 hours, isn't it? It's far.
Yeah, 12 to 13 hours. I had asked him. I I I believe it was mostly by foot. He said at 2 different places, I think at, Camp Pendleton, he said he was on the base and somebody picked him up and removed him from the base and took him to Santa Barbara, which kinda doesn't make sense to me because that's a really far
Yeah, that's kinda
distance to
far
drive
for
somebody.
them to yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
to, take him and drop him off somewhere. And then again, I was like, "Chris, how did you" when we were driving back between, Arcata to San Francisco, that long
Mm,
stretch of, woods,
the
I was like,
101?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, how did you get from there to there? Like, that's a really long stretch of nothing." And he's just like, "Oh, cops picked me up and took me to Arcata." And I was like, "Really?"
You know what's it's funny you say that because I heard there's, I don't know if this is true. I've heard there's this, not theory, but that people get picked up in, San Francisco that are homeless, and they just dump them in Humboldt County.
I
Like
hear about things happening like that. Yeah.
yeah, I've heard that people take these, shuttles to Humboldt County, to, Eureka, and I'm not it's so weird that because I wonder if maybe he got picked up in San Francisco or something, because that's a long way just from because the woods kinda start from Rio Dell till about, I wanna say Ukiah Willits, it starts to become more like vineyard when you get to like Ukiah or Willits than
Mhm.
redwoods. Cause that's like 3.5 hours from Fortuna. So Arcata is even more north, so it's probably like 4 hours. So
Yeah.
walking that would be that'd be insane. Did he say how long
Yeah.
it took him to get up here?
I don't know. No, he didn't. I'm trying to think, no, he didn't mention a time.
We do have a large homeless population here. I think we always have. But we have a lot of buildings being built right now. I think the place I work is 78 units. I know there's another one in Arcata. Um, I don't know how many units that one is. I think it's like 60. And there's one down the street from where I work that's 80. Or no, I think it's 70. And then I know they're building another one, I think, by Old Town. Did you guys drive through Eureka at all or get to see anything while you guys were here?
Yeah, we did drive through Eureka and then
Yeah,
by
Old
the,
Town
like,
is
bay.
yeah, by the bay. It's, like, right by the bay,
Mhm.
like that cutesy little, like, brick floor area, like a gazebo. That's Old Town. I think they're
Yeah.
building one out in the parking lot by the bay.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot of I think we're trying to clean up not I hate saying clean up, but, like, they're trying to help with the homeless population in Humboldt, at least I know that. So but we have always kinda had, like, a more homeless people, I think, and I think that's why I kinda believe that people are just getting dropped off here,
Yeah.
in a sense. So 'cause, I mean, it had to have if he really walked most of the way, it had to have taken him days.
Yeah, yeah.
And someone had to
I
have been, like, giving hi like, I'm sure people maybe gave him food or something because that's a long way.
yeah. I just don't think there's any way he could've. I mean, he could have, but it just seems like it's a really dangerous stretch to walk on by foot
Yeah, especially through
too.
the 101.
Yeah. So, that's what kinda concerns me if he is trying to make his way back up there and him actually trying to walk that, if he did get a ride the first time, it gives me anxiety thinking about it.
Yeah. What were you thinking when you were driving? Were you thinking about that when you were driving up here, like, seeing all the redwoods and, like, you're like, "What is this place?" Because you come from, like, a big city of San Diego, and you come here, and it's, like, the complete opposite.
Yeah. Um, I I was just in awe by it. I think it's so beautiful. Like,
It is.
I would love to live there. I'm so sad that while I was there, it was raining because I would love to go explore the woods. But yeah, I was just like, wow, like he picked the most beautiful place to stay. Like it it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, Humboldt County's beautiful. A lot of
Mhm.
people I didn't realize how touristy it gets here until, like, my friend has an Airbnb in Trinidad, which is where, like, all the beaches are and stuff, and there's a lot of people that come out here and actually, like, wanna 'cause I'm local, so it's like, of course, growing up here, I was like, "Oh, I hate it here," but as an adult, I have grown to love it, and I'm like, "Dang, no wonder people wanna come here." You know, it's one of the most we're right by the coast, I mean, it doesn't get very warm. You can't swim in the ocean like you can in SoCal, but, I mean, some days if, like for me, a local, like, if it's, like, 66 degrees, I'm like, "Ugh, what is this? Where's the clouds?" But, I mean, 66 in San Diego is, like, freezing.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like, I'll be like, "Oh, let's go in the water," you know, and it's freezing cold, but, like, this is, like that's normal for us. Definitely not normal for somebody that's not from here, but a lot of people come from out of the area and they come here and they go on the hikes, like, Fern Canyon is beautiful when it's raining. Did you guys get to do did you guys take Chris to, like, go do things while you guys were here?
Not really. We got in the
Hmm.
car and we drove north a little bit. Um, I did wanna see, like, the huge trees, so we got out, but it was raining and we weren't prepared for that.
Yeah.
So we just got out and we took a picture, with a big tree, but he didn't seem to something about being in the car, I feel like, sets him off a bit, so he didn't seem very comfortable in the car, um, and he wanted to sleep a lot when we got him, so we didn't really do too much.
Yeah. I wonder if it's, like, maybe because he hadn't been in a car for so long. Because I
Yeah,
can't other than being transported to, like, the jail, I can't think of 'cause it's not a very long drive, it's like a 10-minute drive. So, I mean, other than being transported to the Humboldt County Correction Facility, I can't think of any other reason why he would be in a car. So, it's
yeah,
probably almost just, like, maybe triggering, and it could be triggering because he was sent to the jail and was put in a car
true.
to get to the jail. So, it could be that too, but, I mean, it could also be that he hadn't been in a car for so long.
Yeah, and that it kind of concerned me having to make that long drive back,
Mhm.
with him. I was just like, "Oh, how is this gonna go?" And it was quite entertaining, to be honest.
Yeah.
Bringing him back, yeah, when we got when we were leaving, he did seem to have, like, he started, like you could tell he was getting very anxious as we were leaving, but I didn't know
Mhm.
if it was because we were, like, taking him from his,
Mhm.
his home, everything
Like
he
his
knew.
comfort zone.
Yeah, um, or if maybe, like, just a drive. So, he did seem very anxious, but he eventually calmed down. When we got to San Francisco, he started to have, like, a rage attack or something. He just, like, started cussing and screaming and yelling, and I had to roll up the car windows. Finally, he calmed down, but it seemed like from that point all the way home, he was just nonstop, like, talking, saying things, flipping people off. Um, I was just like, "Can you please stop?" I didn't know how to handle it. I was like, "Please don't do that, please." Like, so, yeah, it was an adventure getting him home in the car.
Yeah, from San Francisco, it's like 6 hours. So that
Yeah,
must have been
it was
a really long 6 hours.
it was very, very stressful. It was so stressful.
Yeah, that's difficult, especially being in a
Mhm.
car in such, like, an enclosed space, and you don't know what's gonna happen, and yeah, I can imagine your frustration.
Yeah. I eventually gave him a tablet to play on, and it kind of
Oh,
kept him
nice.
busy. Yeah, so he just started playing games, and that quieted him down a little bit, so, but yeah.
Oh, so where did you meet him when you got here? Did you meet him in the plaza, or how was he in contact with you, or did you just kinda show up and you were like, "We're gonna go home?"
Yeah, so I had been working with not working with, so there's a couple of people I had been speaking to, and one of their names is Lane, um, and he had helped us. He was keeping in communication with me. Christopher actually went missing, like, 2 days prior to us. No, actually, I think it was the day that we were supposed to come up, and
Oh my gosh,
so
that's such a
Lane
long drive.
yeah, I was like, "This cannot be happening right now." Um, and so Lane, he went and he found him, and he kept him with him, and then he brought him to us to our hotel.
Mhm.
So he had been helping us, get it all organized and make sure that it would all happen and work out, so
And that's just someone you met through Facebook, right?
yeah, he had reached out
Wow.
to me because he had some contact with Chris, yeah. Amazing, amazing person.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw so many people commenting on your posts that were like, I've seen him, and I gave him this, or I gave him that, or I talked to him," and it's like, the community really came together.
Yes.
Like, a lot of
I am
people like, my whole
so, so
Facebook feed
grateful.
was just your post at one point. It was, like, all my friends on Facebook, I would scroll and it'd be, like, that picture of him all over my timeline. Like, the community really came together for that.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I was not expecting that much of an outpour from people, and so, like, I was just so, so grateful, and that so grateful that people are willing to help. You don't see that very much these days, people just
Yeah.
being so willing and being so empathetic to the situation, so I am so forever grateful to that community.
Yeah, I think people are getting meaner nowadays. So it
Oh,
was
yeah.
really yeah, right? Am I crazy? Or I think, like, kids are getting, like, super out of hand these days, and I think people are just being meaner. And
Yeah,
it's
no filter,
yeah, like, doing whatever they want, and I'm just like, "Oh
and
my
it's
gosh."
and it's so easy, like, in these, like, comment sections and community
Oh,
group
yeah.
posts and stuff for people to just, like, verbally attack and,
I know.
um, so, yeah, I'm just like,
It's
"Okay."
like, you
There were
belong in
people who
Facebook
had some
jail.
negative things. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Bring back Facebook jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because yeah, people I know a lot of people that have been to Facebook jail for saying, like, not even, like, that terrible of things, and it's like the people that were, like, the most unhinged were, like, not in Facebook jail, and I'd be like,
Right?
"What are you doing? Mark Zuckerberg," if that I think that's who it is, right? "Get
Yeah.
your shit together." Yeah. So, yeah, some people are mean. So
Mhm.
I totally get it. So what was it like when you got to see him for the first time?
Ugh,
Was he happy to see
gosh.
you, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just to give him a great big hug and, like, it's finally happening, I have him back, like, it was just it was such a huge weight lifted from me, and, I was just so happy, I was so nervous. I was going through so many different emotions. It was like I was happy, nervous, scared, like, what did
Yeah.
all this mean? Because I wasn't expecting to bring him back, and within
Oh, really?
minutes yeah, he said he didn't want to come back at first. He was just like, when we went up there, we were going up there to visit him.
Oh, I thought you
Um,
came up here to come get him.
no, he was telling the people that we were communicating with that he didn't wanna come home. He just wanted to have a visit with us. And so I was like, "Let's just go up there, see what happens." And, it worked out because within minutes, he was just like he said, "I'm tired, I'm ready to come home." And I'm like, "What? Like, what did you just say?" Like and he's like, "Yeah, I'm ready to come home." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh. Okay, that's great. That's fantastic." Like, but then it's like, "Whoa, whoa, what do we do?" You know, so all these thoughts are going through my head, like, "He is coming home. We need to prepare for this." And so, yeah, it was a very emotional roller coaster, but it was I was so happy.
I thought he had agreed to come home, and that's why you guys came up here to come get him. I didn't know
No.
that you guys had just came to see him.
So I think it was like 3 weeks prior, he had agreed to come home. We had a whole plan set up where Lane was gonna bring him to San Francisco. We were gonna meet up with him there and bring Chris home. But then, um, within few days of us supposed to coming driving up, he's like, "No, I don't wanna do that. I am willing to meet with them, but I don't wanna come home."
Mhm.
And so then we had to re-strategize and, just like, "Okay, what do we do now?" And so I gave it a good week or 2 and I sat on it and I'm like, "Let's just go. We just need to go and see what happens." Like, maybe us being there will have him miss home enough to wanna come back. And it
Mhm.
did, it worked. So,
How long were you guys gonna be out here to visit?
just for the weekend.
Oh my gosh, that's like realistically, you probably only had like a full day here, huh? Because you guys left
Yeah.
did you guys leave Friday and leave Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
that's
we left
quick.
really early. Yeah, early, really I think we left at, like, 2 in the morning on Friday and
Oh,
then came
wow.
back. Yeah.
I was thinking you left at, like, 6. When you said really early, I was like
It was a very exhausting trip.
was it just you and your husband, or did your other kids come, or any of the other kids come, his siblings?
It was me, my husband, and then my 3-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so, he agreed to go home. Did he agree to get help if he that's when you told him he had to be medicated, right? Or did you wait till you guys got back when he was home to be like, "Hey, you need to get, some help. We need to see a doctor." Because what if it wasn't schizophrenia and it was, like, maybe borderline personality disorder or, like but I don't think with BPD it's they talk to themselves. I think they just and I could be wrong. I think they just think things differently and interpret things in a different way, but it's not so much the, like, psychosis side of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Um, that was one of the things I was considering it being because with him talking like, the way that he was talking to himself in the TikTok posts, like
Mhm.
so I thought that was a possibility. Um, bringing him back, I did say, "Listen, we're gonna get you the help that you want." I was trying to, because I'm slowly learning the different things that the way you talk to somebody with schizophrenia isn't the same way that I'm gonna talk to you, and, um, so I was just trying to put it out there and be like, "We're gonna get you the help that you want, okay? We're gonna bring you home, and we're gonna get you the help that you want and you deserve," and so he was kinda, like, all with it. He was totally okay with it. I even think at that time he might have said he was I don't know where or I don't know who told him this, but he said he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia somewhere,
I
and I
wonder
don't
if
know
he
if it was,
went
like,
to
on his
mobile
mission.
medical, because we have a mobile open door medical van that goes to this facility called The Grove, and I know they go to other places, and you can see a doctor. It's for I think, I don't know if it's for everyone. I know that a lot of clients that live on the streets do go to mobile medical, so I almost wonder if they got him connected through someone from there.
Maybe, yeah. 'Cause I
'Cause
I wouldn't I wouldn't know where else he would have, like, got that information from, so,
hmm. Did you try calling any of the, outreach facilities when you were trying to when you found out he was in Arcata?
um, no, the only or wait, I did speak to somebody on Facebook, um, she was with the outreach program, and she said they're bringing him stuff like food and I believe a blanket,
Wonder if it was
something
the
like
home
that.
program.
I can't
'Cause
I
I
don't
know that some
remember.
I wanted to reach out to you and I had thought about it, and then someone from the home program reached out to me that I work closely with and, I've actually gotten to know, and she was telling me, like, "I think this would be really great," and I was like, I was thinking the same thing, but, I was like, "She just got him back," and I was like, "I don't know how touchy it is," and how I was like I put it off for a couple weeks, and I kinda sat on it. So I wonder, because I know she was following your story too, so I wonder if it was her, but there's just so many outreach programs. We have Uplift, we have, RCAA, Home, Arcata House Partnership. We have a lot of outreach facilities here, and
That's what I've heard.
I've worked with all of them for the most part. I think I've worked because I have to with, like, the coordinated entry system that we use. I work with a lot of different outreach programs. So, I mean, it could have been Arcata House Partnership too because I think their annex is right by the plaza. I think they are right by the Crab Stadium. I don't know if you pass the big baseball field kinda by the plaza, but they
I
have,
don't
like,
think
an
so.
annex there where people can go and, like, get into the list or signed up, and they have, like, warming shelters in Arcata 'cause it gets so cold at night in the winter.
Yeah, the girl, like,
Hmm.
said I believe she said that they had tried to, like, reach out to him before and he just was declining help, but she was gonna make a point to, like, get him these things to help keep him warm and stuff,
Mhm.
so,
That's really
um,
nice.
yeah, um, and then I did reach out to the public guardian, but they
Mhm.
just, their hands are tied, like, along with the police
Yeah,
department, their hands are tied, so there's not
it's
much that they
hard.
can do. Yeah,
Yeah, I work with Public
so
Guardian as well, and it can be hard. I think they work with conservatorship too.
mhm, I think so.
Have you thought about maybe going to, like, support groups for people that have children with mental health issues?
I have considered NAMI. It's still I'm still considering it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. Their meetings seem to be they're like 2 hours long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can commit that much time
No, that's a
to it.
long time, and you have a
Yeah.
three-year-old and but do you
Yeah.
have to stay for the whole thing?
I hear that you don't. I hear people saying that they're able to leave early, and I think you're supposed to stay for the
Oh,
whole
like, to be
thing, but
polite?
yeah,
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
so they're a little lenient, but, um so it is something I need to look into. I'm definitely still considering it. I think it will do me a lot of good.
What was it called
Um,
again?
NAMI,
NAMI?
NAMI.
I wonder
Yeah.
if Al-Anon would be, like, the same. Al-Anon is for, like, people that have a close relative or family member or friend that have substance abuse, but I wonder if mental health issues falls under that too. I wonder if it's just, like, a different program.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
I'll have to look
Yeah,
into
2
that
hours
one.
is a long time though to,
It's
like
really long.
I get the whole being polite because it's almost like showing up to a party, eating, and leaving, you know,
Yeah.
like so, it'd be like showing up, getting to talk about it, and getting feedback, and then leaving. So I can understand why they're like, "We prefer you'd stay for the whole thing, but we understand, you have a life."
Yeah.
What
And
about
yeah.
online support groups? Have you joined any, like I mean, there's a Facebook page for everything these days.
Oh, yeah. I've like, I'm a part of groups, but there was a schizophrenia support group that I was a part of, and I actually had to stop because it was just too much. It was so overwhelming, and,
I can
everything
understand
that
that.
yeah, it was a lot of negative things
Oh,
being said, and I just not like just the things that were happening, "Oh, my loved one did this today. It's so awful, blah, blah, blah," and I didn't wanna hear that part, you know what I mean? I wanna keep my ideas of this as positive as I can,
like
and,
hopeful?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
um I don't wanna think about him becoming violent or yeah, I just wanna keep our future very hopeful and not think of the bad side of it. I don't wanna think about that.
Yeah, I get that. Do you think it's having him diagnosed with schizophrenia and everything you've been through, has it, like, changed the way you think about mental health about or has it changed you as a person?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely not the same person I was a year ago. I've had to build I would say I've always been pretty resilient, but it's grown tremendously and my strength has grown and um I'm much stronger and so it definitely changed. It's I don't know, it's there's you just have to adapt and move forward.
Right. And so how long was he home before he left again?
About a month.
I think yeah, that's how I was gonna guess based off of what you had posted, and I wonder why he's so drawn to Arcata. Have you asked him, like, why do you wanna go back of all places just, like, there? And does he ever give
He
a response that makes sense?
None that makes sense. He says he was raised there. Like,
Mm,
he'll tell me stories of us living there. Um, Elon Musk wants him there. He's there to complete a mission. His wives are there. He has multiple wives. Um, yeah, he has businesses there. So, yeah, it's just his life basically is in Arcata as far as he knows.
okay. So his sense of reality, it sounds like, is tied to Arcata because he's created these businesses and wives, and that's difficult to navigate. And did you try correcting him when he told you these things or like be like, "Well, we grew up this is where we grew up." Like you didn't grow up in Arcata. Like how did you react or respond to that?
Yeah, so I was like, "Boy, because I call him boy. I'm like, "I've never been to Arcata until I picked you up. We lived in Phoenix your whole life. I'm from Phoenix and that's where we've lived up until we moved here." And he's just like, "No, no, do you remember?" And then that's when I kind of like went along with his story. Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's what happened.
Especially if you keep trying to not I guess not I guess correct him. He could be like, "You think I'm a liar?" And
Yeah,
he could do a complete opposite where he's like, "No, do you remember?" And if you keep kinda pushing it, he could be like, "You think I'm lying to you?" Like and he might think like, "Oh, you're not my mom," and, like, the paranoia might kick in. "Oh, you're here,
yeah,
you want me to" and you want me like, just say something kinda off the wall, like, "You're the enemy from the mission because he says he is completing a mission," or something.
right.
Like, he could do a complete 180, and de-escalating somebody that has a different sense of reality is very difficult.
Yeah, yeah. He,
Did you I'm sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, he's always been pretty mellow and not so violent, but the night that we were trying to take him to the psychiatric unit, he was on one of those, like, he thought we were the enemy and he was,
Mhm. You guys were taking him to, like,
is
jail, in a
he
sense.
he knew we were going to the hospital, but he didn't need the help in his opinion, you know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
like, "Why
Well,
are we
yeah,
doing
because
this? He's totally fine."
he probably
Yeah,
thinks he's not a lot like I said earlier, is that a lot of people with schizophrenia don't think they have schizophrenia and that they're fine,
right, yeah,
and they believe their sense of reality. So, I
yeah.
that makes sense. How did you guys get him there? Were you like, "We're just here to help you," or just kind of, like, reassuring him?
Yeah, so, like, we kinda just did some back and forth. He was getting really agitated, and then I was just finally like, "We have to do this." I stood my ground, and, um, I'm just like, "We need to do this. You asked us to get you the help. We're doing what you asked us to do. That's all we're trying to do for you." And so he stormed off down to my car screaming and yelling and got in the car, and the whole time on the way there, he was, like, complaining and being mad, and even when we got there, he was throwing a massive, like, fit, but, the security guard there worked with us on getting him inside, and
Mhm.
so once he was in there, they did put him on a 5150 hold because he was trying to leave, and
Mhm.
so it all kinda just fell into place perfectly. It's almost like I feel like he wants the help, but it's Christopher against his voices, and so,
Yep.
yeah, he's fighting for himself, he really is, but the voices are kind of overcoming him. I think he wants it, but he's dealing with that.
Mhm. Did he ever tell you that maybe he tried to self-medicate the voices out? Or did he ever try?
He smokes a lot of weed. Um,
I actually
I
heard that smoking marijuana can trigger schizophrenia if you have schizophrenia and haven't had symptoms yet. I was just talking about that.
Yes, I've read that too, and so I kind of wonder even, before he started showing symptoms, he was smoking weed, and so I kind of wonder, like, was it a combination of him smoking weed with the family history of it?
Mhm.
Had he not smoked the weed, would he be okay? Um, but yeah, when he was living here, I told him, I'm like, "You cannot be smoking weed. It's not good for you," and
Mhm.
so, yeah, he just that's the only thing that I'm aware of. As far as I know, he doesn't do any, like, other hardcore street drugs or anything like that,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't say he wouldn't try it. I wouldn't put it past him to try it, but
Mhm.
he didn't have anything in his system when he went to the hospital.
That's kind of a relief
Yeah,
because we have a really bad epidemic with, like, fentanyl here.
and
So,
that's what scares me.
I
Yeah,
completely understand. It could happen to anyone.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they're self-medicating, they're just trying to drown out and quiet, even other mental illnesses, I feel like it's just about self-medicating.
Yeah, definitely. I know that some people that I've dealt with in the past, they like to listen to music that are schizophrenic.
Mm.
It blocks the voices out is what I hear, is that music, like a CD player or something, like, because we don't like to give people some people that have, like, caseworkers and stuff don't like to get their clients iPods or anything like that because they often trade them or they lose them or they break
Uh,
them. So we try to find CD players with, like, those little headphones that just go over your ear. And I hear that that helps. Did he ever try anything that helped with the voices other than smoking weed? If that was helping. I don't feel like that would help, but maybe for
I
him.
don't think it ever helped.
Yeah.
We noticed that he would get worse when he was smoking weed, so definitely wasn't
Yeah.
helping him. He
Well,
thought it was, but it wasn't.
I feel like smoking weed will also makes you paranoid too. So it's like probably
Yeah.
I don't see it helping. So I
No.
get it.
Um, he did, wear headphones and would blast music. Like, he
Okay.
loved listening to music. Yeah, definitely that was something that seemed to calm him, and then playing video games.
Hmm. I wonder if it's a thing, the music is a actual thing because I thought it was maybe just, like, case by case, like, this might work for you, but it won't work for this person, but it sounds like that kinda helped, so I wonder if that's, like, an actual because that's all they're hearing, maybe that's why it was so loud that it's almost like the voices are shut off, in a
Yeah.
sense. Hmm. What were some of the hardest things you had to go through, and how did you heal from them? Or how did you cope with some of those things that happened?
Um I would say just the not knowing of where he is, dealing with that for the longest time was so hard, and now dealing with it again, and then not being able to get him the help that I know he needs is so frustrating. Watching him decline and deteriorate and not being able to help, um, it's just, it's just so frustrating because 'cause I'm here, I wanna help him, I would do anything for my son, and not being able to help him, it's because of the system, it's just crazy to me. Um, and I don't think I'll ever heal because our life is never gonna be what we knew it, and he will never be the same. So, I'll always love him the same, that's never gonna change, but it's just the the boy that I once knew is never gonna be the same. And so, unless he were able to get him stabilized and living life and I mean, it's possible. People are living with schizophrenia and living normal lives. If we could
Mhm.
do that, that's when I'll be able to heal. But
Right.
it's that's a really hard road to it's very hard to accomplish.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of not TikToks, TED Talks of people that have schizophrenia, and they talk about, you know how TED Talks are, they'll, like, start with something and then they'll be like, "I'm one of those people," and there I watched this one I keep wanting to say TikTok, but TED Talk of this girl, and she actually has a nonprofit for called Students with Schizophrenia, I think. I think it's over in New York. It's out of New York, I think, and she tries to, because schizophrenia is diagnosed when you're in your 20s.
Mhm.
So, she has this nonprofit that helps students navigate having schizophrenia and resources for them and stuff, and I was reading up on it a little bit, and I know that there are people advocating, so that's great, that's good news, but you're right, something that is often kinda overlooked, and there's not a whole lot about it.
Right. Yeah, it's very closeted. People don't talk about it enough, and that's what I would love to bring awareness to it and educate people on it and just, like, don't be, um don't worry about judgment if you do have a loved one with schizophrenia. Let our voices be heard and let it be known. Because I feel like because it is so closeted, that's why it's so easy for it to just get swept under the rug, and they're not throwaways. They're not people out there that let's just let them be homeless and forget about them, like, everybody deserves a chance.
Well, we're all human,
You're
and I
right,
feel
yeah,
like people
exactly.
often forget that even though they're homeless or have mental health issues, they're still people, you know?
Exactly.
So it's just
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people that whole, like, topic about homelessness itself is just so controversial, and I didn't realize how controversial it was until I actually started doing what I was doing, working with people that are homeless, and they tell me things that people have said and done, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh," like, "They did that to you? They said that to you?" Or they'll be like, "Oh, this person said this to me," and I'm just like, it's hard.
It's
It's
heartbreaking,
It
like, I
is.
couldn't
It's like, I can't believe
imagine.
that you would do that to a person. Like I said, people are
Yeah,
mean.
to dehumanize somebody and just, like,
Yes.
it's I don't get it. Like, you
Yeah.
just gotta be a really bad person to be that mean.
Yeah, honestly, because it's just, it makes me so mad. So I
Mhm.
totally get where you're coming from. But so the last post I saw that you made, you said he had ran off again and that he was last seen in LA, correct?
Yeah,
How
so
far is
he
that from you? Like 2 hours?
yeah, it's about 2 hours.
Okay. So he just decided he didn't wanna be medicated and he had left, right?
Yeah, yeah, well, it was really that's had to be what it was. It was weird because that morning I had actually woke up and I noticed his things had been moved around. I don't know why it, like, sensed something, I was just it was odd to me, I don't know why, and so then I go downstairs and I see that there's this bag and it looks packed, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"What is going on?" And he had actually been talking about leaving and
Yeah, I
asking me
think
to
you
take him
mentioned
back.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he kept saying, "Will you take me back to Arcata? Will you buy me a bus ticket?" And I'm like, "No, Chris, like, I we went up there and we got you. We brought you home. That was a lot of work for us. It took a lot. And so let's just try to focus on getting you your help and getting you better." And he just was like, "No, I need to go." So I think he was always determined to get back. And I kind of feel like he was almost using all of it as an excuse to leave. Like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, you want me to keep taking my medication? I didn't take it." So, it was just easier for him to blame it on that and leave than to just leave on his own, if that makes sense.
Right. So, how did he get to LA, or how do you think he got to LA?
He walks. He walks a lot. The kid will
Wow.
walk anywhere. Yeah.
Well, yeah, anyone can walk anywhere, yeah, but that's, like, so far.
Yeah. Well, he was, when I filed the missing persons report on him, this last one, they said that he had been stopped in maybe it was just Orange County, which is close to LA. Or no, Oceanside. He was stopped in Oceanside. So they had already had like an idea of where he had been. Um, and then, so yeah, he was there like a week after he had left home. And so, yeah, he did have a bus pass, but it would have only gotten him on about 2 buses. So that might
Yeah,
have
I was
gotten
gonna
him a
say that
little
they're
bit
not gonna go
far.
very far.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah, I
he
think he's just
last
walking foot.
so last you heard he was in LA then.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in LA somewhere.
Have you had any kinda updates since? Has he posted anything on TikTok? Has he reached out? Has anyone seen him? Have you been able to find if he's been arrested anywhere?
Um, they did contact me about his missing persons and told me that they did have contact with him, but because he doesn't want contact, they just close it and, they'll just let me know that they've talked to him and then that's it.
So do they close his missing persons report, or do you have to refile one every time they make contact?
Yeah, they just close it. I don't know if I'm allowed to like refile every time they close it. I know that this lady that I've been in contact with, she's the CSO. She actually will, if I call her, she'll provide me with like, oh yeah, we had contact with them again. So she'll let me know that there has been contact, but um, she won't tell me more than that. So I could call her at any time and just be like, hey, have you talked to Chris? Or has Chris had contact? And she'll be like, yes. And then, okay, thanks.
I don't think I've seen him, so I don't think he's here yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel like he's just like either slowly making his way,
I wonder
maybe
if
just
maybe
like,
he's asking people, like, to buy him an Amtrak ticket back
oh,
here.
I wouldn't doubt it. He
Yeah, I
probably
wonder
would
if
do
I
that.
didn't even think of that as a possibility earlier when we were talking about how he got here. I wonder if someone just was like, "Oh, you want a bus ticket to Arcata? Here, it's like 20 bucks." I think
Oh, that is,
it's like 40 bucks, I think, from, like, here to at least I wanna say 'cause my brother took the Amtrak one time when he lived in Coalinga, and I think the bus ticket was like 50 bucks, and that's, like, Central Valley.
oh, so that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that until right now, but
Or maybe he possibly snuck on. I don't know if that's possible, but
I don't know, I've never taken an Amtrak, so I don't know if it's like in the movies where, like, they have someone standing by the door and they're, like, punching your ticket, or when you're on the bus, they punch your ticket because 'Cause you're already driving, you're gonna pull over and, like, kick that person out, but it's, like, also, like, I mean, if this person wants to go to Humboldt County, why not?
all
You
right.
know? 'Cause it's just such a I don't know, I feel like people, yeah, they wanna come here for the tourists, but it's also, like, a lot of people that live here, are always like how I used to be, like, "Why would you wanna be here?" So it's, like, different, especially coming from the city, but, I mean, he's a completely different person. So,
Yeah.
he might something is tying him, he's drawn to here for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, do you I mean, if I ever see him, I'm gonna let you know, but I noticed I did see in your post that you said that this was kind of your where you were gonna take a step back.
At that time, it was, I told myself, at the beginning of all this, I'm going to try to get him this help. If I can't do it, I can't allow it to consume me
Mhm.
because, I have other kids.
Yep.
I have to move forward with my life. I'll do what I can, but I can't keep chasing him. And now I'm back to where I was. I will do, I'm fighting for him. I'm trying to find new ways to get him the help that he needs. If he comes home, of course, I'm going to let him home with
Right.
those conditions. So, yeah, I think I was just really devastated at that time. Um, and I kind of did just want to I need to take a break. I did. So, but my breaks are very short. I always pick myself up pretty quickly and keep pushing
That's
forward.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
If he made it here one time, he'll definitely make it again. And
I do
now
believe that.
yeah, I definitely think he'll find his way back, and there are so many people in the community now that know your story and know who he is that if there's any kind of sighting of him, I'm sure that somebody will call you or text you or something, like, I know if I see him, I'm gonna hop on my Facebook and be like, "Okay, I saw him, I made sure I fed him, but I tried to talk to him," but I think now when he comes back, I think there's gonna be a lot of people looking out for him.
Yeah, I agree, and it's
You so
like
you can have that sense of comfort.
yeah, it's like that's the best place he could end up. I
Yeah.
know he's gonna be cared for, I know he's gonna be watched.
I think outreach
Um,
people are definitely gonna be, like, trying to get him help. I think that they're gonna do everything that they can, and maybe one day he'll accept.
yeah, I do think he has it in him to accept it. Um, so yeah, I really feel like it's the best outcome of him ending up there, and I do think he is completely determined to get there, so he's gonna make that happen, and he's one of those people when he has something in his mind, he's gonna make it happen, so, yeah, and now things might be a little bit easier with him having a confirmed diagnosis of schizophrenia, with getting more help, hopefully.
Yeah, more resources, definitely. That could
Yeah,
be a big help because being undiagnosed and people not knowing, I mean, there's no way to tell if
right.
it's schizophrenia. But now that he has a confirmed diagnosis, that'll definitely help him in the long run. And that's just
Yeah.
in medical records too. And people know him. So
Yeah, yeah,
at least if he makes it back here, he'll definitely be offered resources that he might not want at first, but he might warm up to the idea.
yeah.
So, is there anything you want anybody to know about dealing with a family member with schizophrenia or just schizophrenia in general?
Yeah, don't it's a tough road. It's definitely hard, but you're not alone. There's so many people out there with loved ones who have schizophrenia. Um, just keep pushing forward and keep fighting and speak up for your loved one and um, document everything and fight for them. We have to fight for them. We have to have our voices, and we need to make change. They deserve so much better than what they're being dealt with. And so we have to work together to make a change in the situation.
I agree. Is there anything else you want to talk about or want to say?
No, not that I could think of. No, I want there to be change. I want there to be hope for them and don't, um, don't judge people who are homeless or suffering mental health. Humanize them. They're people too. They deserve to have love and uh, empathy and compassion.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and coming onto my podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's an honor. I'm so happy we did this.
Thank you. All right, guys, and we'll all see you next time. Thank you for joining us and definitely share this one, please.